in contact with their attorney. They advised me that they would not allow me to use an unsecure line, but however, me talking to an attorney, it does not have to be a secure conversation, considering the fact it is a confidential conversation between me and the attorney. I also made them aware of the seriousness of the crimes and the seriousness of me actually needing to obtain an attorney on my own. And as of right now, they still have failure to help me in assisting with getting in contact with an attorney.
Why don't we leave the prelim on then for next week, Ms. Bledsoe, if you don't need to meet with Mr. Burton, and then if you hire your attorney between now and then.
I have a couple of things that I'd like to address the court with.
You can't because no, hang on. You can't address the court without Ms. Bledsoe.
I can address the court without an attorney.
No, you're still appointed. So right now you're appointed with an attorney. The preliminary examination is going to go on next week as requested. And we're going to adjourn on your case right now. So I don't want you to say something that could hurt your case. That's why you're being muted right now. So we're all set with you today. You can go back to your jail cell as it stands right now. Okay. Katrina, if you would get in contact with the staff and tell them we're all finished with Ms. Bledsoe. She's trying to secure her own attorney. All right, Mr. Duke, are you ready to proceed on Mr. Zilska?
Yes.
Okay. Calling the case of the People's State of Michigan versus Trevor Lee Zilska, file 20-0534FT. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Joseph Damon on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Daniel Ducomprani on behalf of Trevor Zilska for Lee Burton.
All right, Mr. Zilska, do you agree to let Mr. Duke represent you today? Mr. Burton is not available.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Mr. Duke, what is your client's desire regarding the preliminary examination?
He's going to waive the preliminary examination, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Amon, do the people waive their right to a preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Zilska, do you know what a preliminary examination is? And are you planning on following Mr. Duke's advice and waiving the preliminary examination?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to make the determination that the waiver has been made knowingly, understandingly, and voluntarily. The matter is now bound over to circuit court. Mr. Duke, would it be all right for me to do the arraignment at circuit court right now?
Yes, Your Honor, we would waive reading of the information.
How do you plead your client in circuit court then?
Not guilty.
Not guilty plea will be entered in records of the court. Mr. Zilska is out on bond, it appears. Is there any issue we need to address from the people's perspective?
No, Your Honor.
Anything from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be adjourned on this case. Mr. Zilska, the next time you'll hear is either from Judge Karras or Judge Beal. The case is now going to be in one of their two hands. I don't know which one. All right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned. Do we have Mr. Steele in the jail room now?
Yes.
All right. We're calling the case of the People's State of Michigan versus Jacob Brody Steele, file 21-0537FY. Counsel, identify yourselves for the record.
Joseph Damon on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Peter Durant on behalf of Jacob Steele, who's appearing on Zoom from the county jail.
All right, today's time and date set for probable cause conference. Mr. Durant, have you had an opportunity to talk this matter over with your client and the prosecutor, and has your client made a decision regarding the preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor. It is my understanding that the plea was offered by the prosecutors that I spoke with my client about this morning. He would like to accept that plea offer at this time, and I can place it on the record.
Mr. Amon, is he going to plead in circuit court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
But it could just be a waiver for today, but just so it's, give me 1 second, Your Honor. Yeah, I did make an offer because he does have other felony matters that if he pled guilty as charged in this file with habitual offender third, we dismiss the habitual offender fourth and the VCSA second, and we would run them concurrently with his file already in circuit court, and there would be a BK on initial incarceration for the same amount of time as his other file. So if he, in other words, if he gets 24 months on his other file, he gets 24 months on this file, they run concurrently. If he gets no more time, he just has another felony. And just so that's on the record, because I think he's relying on that for his waiver.
All right. Mr. Drance, does that sound in line with what you had relayed to your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, it does.
And is it, are you recommending that your client waive the preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Amon, are people waiving their right to a preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Steele, do you know what a preliminary examination is?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
And your attorney is recommending that you waive the preliminary examination. Are you planning on following your attorney's advice?
I am.
All right. I will make the determination that the waiver has been made knowingly, understandingly, and voluntarily. This matter is bound over to circuit court. Mr. Drance, do you need me to read the charges to your client for the circuit court arraignment, or is he familiar with the charges?
He should be familiar with the charges, Your Honor.
And so you're waiving the reading?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead your client in circuit court?
Not guilty at this time.
Not guilty plea will be entered in the records of this court. Is there anything more we need to address as far as the bond is concerned, or any other matter, Mr. Drance?
Not at this time, Your Honor. I'm just under the understanding that Mr. Steele is just being held on a parole hold right now.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Raymond?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. We'll be adjourned on this case. Katrina, I did, after we did the discussion about me turning the system on, I had forgotten until just this case turned it on. So we'll need to download the hearings from Zoom up until right now.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
All right. Waiting, I guess, for the next people to be brought in.
Yes, Your Honor. I do not have Edward Wilson present in the waiting room. He is he is with Mr. Duke, but he is out on bond.
Mr. Duke, have you had any contact with Mr. Wilson?
I have not.
Okay, we'll call that case after you had an opportunity to meet with this person here. Sir, in the Midland County Jail, if you could please tell me your name.
William Krapinski.
Okay. We are on the record. The people of the state of Michigan versus William Krapinski. It's file 21-0453FD. Counsel, identify yourselves for the record.
Joseph Damon on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he's in pro per.
Nope, he's the Mr. Duke.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Duke, do you need a moment to meet with Mr. Krapinski?
I didn't know about this one.
Mr. Krapinski was in pro per. It's a OWI third offense. And we had a prelim set, and then Mr. Krapinski asked if he could have an attorney, so he was added in fairly late. Mr. Krapinski has a pretty good grasp of the legal system over certain circumstances. He knows where his abilities are and where they're not, and he thought at the last minute he should have a lawyer. So if you'd like to take a minute to chat with him, we'll give you that opportunity.
I will, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Katrina, can we find out when the paperwork went out?
I will do that right now.
All right. We have to get Mr. Krapinski into the conference room.
I'm trying, Your Honor.
I know I'm asking you to do a lot at once. I see appearance filed on the 13th.
That is correct, Your Honor. I'm bringing someone in.
Hopefully that's the person we're waiting for.
have a Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Could you unmute yourself, please? There you go.
All right.
Could you tell me your name, please?
Stacy Baker.
Ms. Baker, which case are you here on?
Cole Maxey's my nephew.
Okay.
Ms. Cole,
We're
with
not
you?
a-
Or is he in jail?
He's in jail.
Okay. You'll be like, so right now, we'll invite you to watch on the YouTube channel. This is like being in the courtroom itself. And
Okay.
so you were part of the proceedings, and I'm pretty certain you probably didn't want to be part of the proceedings.
No. How do we do
Okay.
the YouTube video of it?
Certainly. It is, what is the YouTube channel? 75th District Court, Room A. So if you go to YouTube and search that, it'll bring it up in real time.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Your Honor, are you going to want me to go off the record between each of these?
I guess so, because he's back now, so we'll see. So, Mr. Duke, thank you for seeing the defendant. It looks like we sent notice out on the 12th, and you'd filed an appearance on the 13th, but this was pretty short order because today would have been the preliminary exam. And so we just changed the preliminary exam to a probable cause conference. So that's probably why it's out of rotation for you.
Yeah, it looks like from my calendar, she put it on for the PCC for the 25th. It's actually on there, but for next Tuesday, not this Tuesday. So I
Okay.
apologize for
No worries.
mistake. Mr. Krasinski wants to have a prelim, so I'm just asking for what date you want to do it on.
Okay. Mr. Ames, look, it's probably
Your Honor?
1 week standard time. Yes.
I apologize. I'm trying to get the jail back. They're having a hard
We've
time
had troubles. Yeah,
back.
we've been having troubles with that.
I don't know if someone there, it doesn't have to, I closed out the breakout room. But it's taking a while coming back. I don't know if there's something that the jail can push.
There we go. All right, so we're back on the record in the People's State of Michigan versus William Kaprinski. Mr. Kaprinski, Mr. Duke has indicated you wish to have your preliminary examination, and so we were going to set the date and time for that. I was just talking with Mr. Amon to see how many witnesses that he anticipated. I would imagine not that many.
Probably one, maybe two.
Okay, so we could probably do it on a standard time. Since Mr. Kaprinski's been incarcerated, I would like to have it fairly quickly. Katrina, do we have any slots available for next week?
Let me see, Your Honor.
Mr. Amon, do you think you could get the witnesses subpoenaed by then?
Yes. Your Honor, I think I'm just going to need the deputy because there are other witnesses, but under MRE 1101 as to possession of the property being the vehicle, I think he could testify to that.
Okay.
Your Honor, if you would like, we could put it on at 3:30 next week.
3:30? All right,
Yes, sir.
let's do that. Mr. Duke, are you available at 3:30 next week for the preliminary examination in this case?
Yes, yeah, I can do that.
Okay. All right. Then we'll have the prelim next week at 3:30. Anything else we need to address, Mr. Duke?
No, you are. Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Amon?
Just one thing, Your Honor. There was an offer. He's charged with the felony OWI third, 2 misdemeanors and a half fourth. The offer was to plead as charged as a hab third, which would take it from a life offense to a 10-year offense maximum penalty, and also lower the guidelines, just so it's clear on the record that if we do have a prelim, that offer will no longer exist.
All right. I think Mr. Kaminsky heard that. All right, we're scheduled
Yeah,
for prelim
sure
next
did.
week. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you repeat it for me? I didn't get it all.
Yes. Mr. Raymond, would you mind repeating that again, please?
Yeah, it's on the pretrial form. It's plead guilty to hab third and dismiss the hab fourth.
Thank you.
Okay, so the form I have, it says plead guilty as hab third. Please see Jeff Reddick for further discussions.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll be adjourned on your case, Mr. Kaminsky. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right. Let's call the case, the People's State of Michigan versus Edward Wilson, file 20-1114 FY. Counsel, identify yourselves for the record.
Joseph Damon on behalf of people, Your Honor.
Daniel Duke appearing on behalf of Edward Wilson.
All right, today's time and date set for probable cause conference. Mr. Duke, have you had any contact with Mr. Wilson today?
No, Your Honor.
Were you made aware that he that he was having troubles making court?
No, I'm just searching my emails just in case, but I don't see anything where he has tried to contact us at all. So I had no contact with Mr. Wilson. And I know the case is approximately 2 years old. I don't know where he's been since then, but.
All right. Well, we modified the bond.
How's it going, sir? How are you doing?
I'm well.
Oh, sorry.
That's yep. Just 1 second. We're just finishing up on another case. All right, Mr. Amon, we don't know where Mr. Wilson is. So I noticed that I had modified the bond on May 7th on Mr. Wilson's case.
Yep.
And so I'm going to revoke the bond.
Yep.
And check into the reasons why I would have modified the bond down to a PR bond from the higher bond from earlier. So we'll be adjourned. There'll be a immediate arrest for the defendant. His bond is revoked. We'll be adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, sir, in the Midland County Jail, could you tell me your name, please?
Cole Joseph J. Maxey, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Maxey. Mr. Duke, you need a minute to meet with Mr. Maxey today?
Mr. Burns already met with him, Your Honor.
Okay, so we are on the record then of People's State of Michigan versus Cole Joseph Maxey, file 210359FY. Counsel, please identify yourselves for the record.
Joseph Damon on behalf of people, Your Honor.
Daniel Duke appearing on behalf of Paul Maxey for Lee Burton.
All right, today's time and date set for probable cause conference. Mr. Maxey, Mr. Burton's not here today to represent you.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it all right for Mr. Duke to represent you just for this hearing today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Duke, do
Yes,
you have
Your Honor.
instructions regarding the preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor. It's my understanding Cole was going to waive the preliminary examination. We're going to address bond after the bind over.
All right, Mr. Amon, do the people waive their right to a preliminary examination in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Maxey, do you understand what a preliminary examination is?
Not really, sir. Kind of.
All right. Okay, I'll make sure you do understand it. Well, the best I can.
Well, yeah, I
Certainly,
understand it. I understand it, sir.
You know what it is. Okay. Your
Yes.
lawyer, Mr. Burton and Mr. Duke, are recommending that you waive that. We're going to talk about bond. That's a different issue, whether you stay in
Yes, sir.
jail or not. We're just trying to figure out now whether or not you're planning on following your lawyer's advice on the preliminary examination or not. Are you planning on following your attorney's advice?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, I'm going to make the determination then that the waiver has been made knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily. This matter will be bound over to circuit court. Mr. Duke, may I do the circuit court arraignment and then I'll allow you to address bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is your client familiar with the charges and the maximum penalties?
Yes, we'll waive reading of the information.
And how do you plead your client in circuit court?
I'm not guilty, Your Honor.
All right. You'd like to address bond. Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, and for a minute, I just had my email popped up here. Cole's 20 years old, and as far as we can tell, he has a minimal, if not a non-existent prior record. We understanding, the case is very serious. The charges are very serious. We would ask you to consider reduction in bond. He is working on his family farm. And I think that Cole, I think all of them, the co-defendants have been very cooperative in this case. And I think Cole intends to cooperate with the prosecution also.
All right, Mr. Amon, any people have a position regarding the request to reduce bond?
We leave it to the court's discretion, Your Honor.
All right, let me just take a look, see what is currently set at and who set it. Looks like Magistrate Ladwig had set this at a $100,000 cash or surety. I think there was some concerns regarding the firearms is probably one of the original reasons, I would guess. Looking at the defendant's prior criminal history, it is true. It's relatively short. Two cases out of 2015, juvenile adjudication in Midland County, or excuse me, in Isabella County, of malicious destruction of a building less than $200, and looks like maybe an adult adjudication 2 months later for intent to basically joyriding or intent to steal without unlawfully driving away in a automobile without intent to steal or joyriding. The defendant has no other prior criminal histories. This case, let me just read real fast to see if there's any issues in the affidavit. Will give me some insight. I think there was concerns because of the items that were stolen. I don't see that there was any other circumstances. So based upon his lack of prior criminal history, I do see there's serious charges. He has the potential of up to 10 years in prison, but they're property based. Doesn't look like he used the firearms against anyone or even alleged to have used them, but he could have. So I understand why it probably would have been a higher bond when it was processed. I'm going to modify the bond. I'm going to allow the defendant to post a $10,000 10% bond, so it's $1,000 or the equivalent. He is to engage in pretrial services. He is not to consume any alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, or recreational marijuana. He's to get a biopsychosocial assessment done, follow all the recommendations of the assessment,
Yes,
and keep in contact with Ms. Rebecca Holmes at a frequency, or the pretrial service coordinator if it's not her, but I think it will be, up to 2 times per month. So if he keeps in contact with her, he's not to violate any laws. He's not to leave state of Michigan without permission of the court.
Yes,
And he's not to have any contact with the victim. I don't know if he knows who that person is, but if he does, stay away. If he doesn't, stay away. So that should be easy enough. All right.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you'd like me to place on the record, Mr. Amon, regarding any terms?
No, Your Honor, that's fine. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Duke?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Mr. Max, I will set the bond, Mr. Maxey, down lower, so hopefully it's obtainable for you, but if not,
Thank you, sir.
The circuit court judge could take a look at it. Thank you. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you guys very much.
Your Honor,
Yes.
while I was on Zoom, I did receive a call from Mr. Wilson. He did not have service, so he could not Zoom in. He was given the Zoom phone, and he is on there right now.
Okay. I'm glad Mr. Wilson decided to rejoin us.
Mr. Wilson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry about that.
All right. Recalling the case of the People State of Michigan versus Edward Wilson, file 20-1114FY. Counsel, identify yourselves for the record.
Joseph Amon on behalf of people, Your Honor.
Daniel, on behalf of Edward Wilson.
All right. Today's time and date set for a probable cause conference. Mr. Duke, have you had a chance to talk with your client regarding the preliminary examination and with the prosecutors, and has your client made a decision?
I've spoken to Mr. Wilson.
You're breaking up just a little bit, Mr. Duke, today. I think it's probably because we're getting some background noise from other places. You said
Yeah,
you need to speak with him?
Yeah, I do. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Wilson, we're going to put you in a breakout room. You cannot see Mr. Duke, so you have to wait for him to tell you that you're in a breakout room. Otherwise, it'll be like you're in the middle of a courtroom. Okay?
Okay.
Sir, in the Midland County Jail, could you tell me your name, please?
Andrew Holmes.
All right, Mr. Holmes. When we get Mr. Duke back, he'll probably need to meet with you to talk about your case. So then you'll be in a breakout room as well. So same's true for you. Even though you can see everybody's face, if you see more than just Mr. Duke, you're not in private. So it's not safe to share any information. If you see just him, then I don't know who's in the room with you. They can hear it, but we can't hear it. And we won't know what your conversation is, nor will you hear us. Just like we can't hear Mr. Duke talking right now to the other person, we won't hear you either. But if you see our face, we can. Make sense?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Okay. Katrina, I guess we probably could go off the record now.